here. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. Chair, today's witness is Mr. Mnisi, I'm not sure if Mr. Mnisi's been sworn in yet, but there is a fair amount of housekeeping to deal with before we start.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Mnisi.
Chairperson, good morning to yourself, greetings to the commissioners, evidence leaders, everyone in the House.
Thank you. Please state your full names for the record.
Chairperson, my name is Gareth Trevor Mandisi Mnisi.
Yes, and please leave your mics on throughout. Are you going to swear or affirm?
I'm going to swear, Chair.
Do you swear that the evidence you are going to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you.
Chairperson, thank you very much. At paragraph 2.3, paragraph 15, I confirm that I regard Sergeant Nkosi as a close personal friend of mine. Our relationship did develop over a period of time. As our friendship developed, we found ourselves socializing regularly. We also share certain interests and hobbies, Chair, of common nature, such as biking, sports shooting, and of course, an appreciation for good food. Chairperson, in short, our friendship was based on compatibility and common interest. I first met Sergeant Nkosi through a mutual acquaintance, better known as Mr. Spiyo Mashile. At the time of our introduction, Sergeant Nkosi arrived on a motorbike, which immediately, of course, drew my attention and piqued my interest as a result of my own interest in biking. We after this met up occasionally, then later on, to a point of seeing each other on a regular basis. Chairperson, simply put, we became good friends.
But for the sake of completeness, in paragraph 2.10, the question was asked, have you ever met or interacted with Mr. Sibanyoni, Mr. Vusumizi Matlala, and Mr. Madlanga? Please provide full details of the meetings, including those present at each and the location and purpose of each such meeting, and that you answer at paragraph 40 on page 10.
Thank you, Chair. I reiterate that I have never met, communicated, or interacted with Mr. Joe Sibanyoni in any manner whatsoever, nor have I ever had any direct or indirect engagement with him. I have never met, communicated, or interacted with Mr. Vusumizi Matlala in any manner whatsoever. I accordingly confirm that no personal, professional, social, or official relationship has existed between myself and Mr. Matlala. I have dealt with my interaction with Mr. Mnisi above. He did try to contact me on a few occasions, I must also confirm. On stage, they failed due to a multitude of reasons as displayed earlier on. So the bidders that are listed here, which is 12, 19, 44, 51, and 54 for argument's sake, do not meet the mandatory requirements. They are disqualified from the process moving forward. On 207, we now give an indication of the bidders that are moving on to the next stage. This is on page 207. The top is a tabulated, it's a table that informs bidder 2, 15, 21, 23, 26, 32, 35, 36, and 40 that are compliant from a mandatory perspective. This means these bidders that we're looking here up in front of us are compliant from pre-compliance perspective. They have met the requirements from administrative compliance. They have met the mandatory requirements. They now be moving forward to the next stage, which is a physical verification, where the members of bid evaluation committee, I'm going to reiterate, Chairperson, they're made up of multifaceted individuals across the city, from supply chain management, TMPD, as well as the user departments are responsible for utilizing this tender, then must go out on site and conduct physical inspections and validate whether the vehicles that have been provided as part and parcel of the bid are actually those vehicles, and whether those vehicles meet those key requirements. Similarly to issues of weapons and other matters that must be validated from a physical verification perspective. That process is then undertaken accordingly, Chair, and I will now move to page number 2111. On 2111. 211.
Oh, you said 2111.
Sorry, Chair. 211. On 211, we now designate the results of the physical verification that was done by the bid evaluation committee. Bid evaluation committee went out on site, inspected all the individuals who had passed the first three stages of the legislated supply chain management process and procedures. Bidder number 21, for some reason, does not have a number 5-ton truck as designated within the bid that was submitted. They then need to be disqualified as a result of not meeting the requirements from a physical assessment perspective. We're now remaining on table number 7.2 with about 8 bidders who are compliant from a site inspection perspective, who must therefore then be evaluated further on stage 4. Stage 4 is when we consider pricing and preference point systems. And I'm currently the Chief Financial Officer of the City of Tshwane Metropolitan Municipality.
Then in paragraph 4, at the bottom, you refer to the notice that we've just directed. And in paragraph 6 to 9, you raise certain concerns in relation to privacy and confidentiality. Sorry, can we take this off the screen? Paragraph 6 to 9. I don't want you to read them out, but I just want you to confirm that the correctness of what you set out in paragraph 6 to 9.
Yes, see, I confirm.
Then in similar fashion, in paragraphs 10 to 14, you respond to paragraphs 2.1 and 2.2 of the notice. Again, I just want you to confirm the correctness of your response without reading it into the record, and we're certainly not going to display it. But I would like you also you refer in that regard in paragraph 14 to Annexure GM1, and can you confirm that GM1 is the document that we see in file 2 at page 3?
SC, paragraph 10 to 14, I confirm the content of the statements. Further, in my bundle 2, GM1, I confirm it is my annexure to this response.
And if we can then go back onto the public record, as it were, and if we go to, before we go back onto the public record, I think we should probably deal with the supplementary statement on a similar basis because it essentially speaks to the same issues. So can I ask you to confirm at pages 1 and 2 of the supplementary statement the correctness of paragraphs 3 to 7 of the supplementary statement?
Supplementary statements, paragraph 3 to 5 on the first page, I confirm, Chair. 6 and 7 on the second page, I further confirm.
Now we can go back onto the public record. And the starting point is the question that was asked in paragraph 2.3 of the notice, which will be found at page 5 of the supplementary record. That question was, what is the nature and extent of your relationship with Sergeant Fani and Nkosi, and when and how did it commence? And maybe if you can respond to that, well, you have responded in paragraphs 15 to 17, but maybe you could read out your response, and if there's anything you want to say in addition to that or to amplify that, feel free. You don't have to, but if there is, at any stage when I ask you for these responses going forward, if there's anything that you want to amplify, you're always at liberty to do so. So can I then ask you to give us your response to that paragraph 2.3?
Chairperson, thank you very much. At paragraph 2.3, paragraph 15, I confirm that I regard Sergeant Nkosi as a close personal friend of mine. Our relationship did develop over a period of time. As our friendship developed, we found ourselves socializing regularly. We also shared certain interests and hobbies, Chair, of common nature, such as biking, sports shooting, and of course, an appreciation for good food. Chairperson, in short, our friendship was based on compatibility and common interests. I first met Sergeant Nkosi through a mutual acquaintance, better known as Mr. Spiyo Mashile. At the time of our introduction, Sergeant Nkosi arrived on a motorbike, which immediately, of course, drew my attention and piqued my interest as a result of my own interest in biking. We, after this, met up occasionally. Then later on, to a point of seeing each other on a regular basis. Chairperson, simply put, we became good friends.
Can I make a request? Good morning, Mr. Mnisi.
Morning, Commissioner.
And it will apply to all the questions. So when a question is asked, when, our expectation is that you give a date as well, so that at least we know it's 2016, 2015, or 2010. Okay. But if you just confirm the friendship and you don't give us the date and the timeline, it becomes problematic. And it applies to all the questions.
Okay.
So as you expand, if you can give, it doesn't have to be the exact date, but you can say more or less between 2015 and 2016. Then it gives us an indication.
Okay,
thank you, Mr. Chaskalson.
Thank you, Commissioner. The question in paragraph 2.4, which appears at page 5 of the supplementary bundle, was explain the frequency or number of instances of your meetings or interactions with Sergeant Nkosi and the purpose of such meetings or interactions. Please also indicate whether you've discussed or informed Sergeant Nkosi of any matters relating to City of Tshwane or Tshwane Metropolitan Police Department. If you have done so, please explain what the legitimate basis, if any, was for so doing. And you respond to that at page 4 of your affidavit from paragraph 18. And maybe if you can, again, read your response, amplify anything you want to amplify.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Paragraph 18, I confirm that I met up with Sergeant Nkosi on a number of occasions during the course of our friendship. Chairperson, I cannot state the exact number, the frequency of these meetings, unfortunately, at this stage. I can, however, confirm that we saw each other on a regular basis and that we did spend a considerable amount of time in each other's company. Of course, time and work schedules permitting. I met Sergeant Nkosi during an extremely difficult and emotional turbulent period in my personal life, Chair. At the time, I was going through a deeply painful and hostile divorce, which placed me under immense emotional strain. I found Sergeant Nkosi to be a good listener. I found myself confiding in him increasingly, seeking personal guidance and advice, relying on him for support with respect to the personal challenges that I was facing at the time. Chairperson, I felt that I could trust him and that he would not betray my confidence. He is an older gentleman than I am, and obviously I found within his life experience, which he often shared with me, of great value and of assistance to guide me during this extremely difficult period and time of my life. I did find it easy as our friendship grew, Chair, to seek his counsel. I also found him to be a caring individual. Looking back, I can say I regarded him as a brother. Always there for me, was kind, was caring, was protective, sharing words of comfort when the same was needed. We also, of course, had some good times and fun, Chair, whether we went shooting, biking, or just socializing. Paragraph 21, as our friendship grew closer, we became familiar with each other. We would occasionally share some work-related frustrations and challenges that we were experiencing. I believe it is natural for friends to discuss these kinds of issues. Just to expand, it was not anything sensitive in any nature or form.
The next question was in paragraph 2.5 of the notice, again on page 5 of that supplementary bundle. And it was, have you received any payment or benefit from Sergeant Nkosi, whether directly or indirectly? Please also address whether you received payment from a third party through Sergeant at page 5. It's paragraphs 22 and 23.
Chairperson, I have not received any payment or benefit either directly or indirectly from Sergeant Nkosi. I further confirm that I have not received any payment or benefit from a third party from Sergeant Nkosi. I do, however, wish to state on a few occasions Sergeant Nkosi accompanied me to meetings or gatherings in instances where I might have felt unsafe or vulnerable purely as a friend. I never perceived this or understood him accompanying me as a benefit of any sort for either of us.
Then in paragraph 2.6, you asked, have you ever met Sergeant Nkosi in the presence of Mr. Mpole Kokela? If so, what was the purpose of such meetings? Did the meetings relate to the business of the City of Tshwane and or the TMPD? And your answer is at top of page 6 from paragraph 24. Again, just bearing in mind the point made by Commissioner Khumalo, if you can give us dates in relation to this answer.
Thank you, Chair. I can confirm I did meet Mr. Mpoli Kukele in the presence of Sergeant Nkosi and a gentleman known as Mr. Siphiwe Mashile. At the relevant time, Mr. Lekulela was an official within the City of Tshwane Group Financial Services Department. I cannot, for privacy and confidential reasons, go into the details as to what transpired between the two of us, as it was a workplace-related issue. At the time, or at a point in time, I can confirm I transferred Mr. Mpoli Kukele to the Logistics and Auction Division within Group Financial Services. Mr. Kukele was obviously dissatisfied with the transfer and viewed this as a personal attack on himself. The relationship between us became strained, I might say, and caused me, as I normally would, reach out to try and clear the air. I then approached Mr. Siphiwe Mashile to request Sergeant Nkosi, which I had known him as a childhood friend of Mr. Lekukela, to facilitate the discussion between us. At this stage, I was not very close to Sergeant Nkosi, and it is for this reason, Chair, that I had to request Mr. Siphiwe Mashile, the individual who introduced me to him earlier on, to facilitate the discussion. This, Chair, can confirm occurred in the later part of 2023.
Sorry, Mr. Mnisi. What makes it easy for me to follow you is the fact that I have a written document in front of me. I don't know whether you are speaking too fast or what, but it's a bit difficult for me to hear you properly. If I did not have this document in front of me, I think I would have difficulties. I don't know how we can address it, perhaps slow down or what, I'm not sure.
I mean, Chair, what we can also do is we can flight at this point because we're no longer needing to, there's nothing further that's confidential.
There's a bit of a reverberation in the room, and I think that's what causes, because I'm experiencing the same issue that you experienced, Chairperson. So I think he needs to slow down, but there's quite a bit of a reverberation, and that's what's causing us to sort of not hear properly, I think.
Yes, I think there's that too. Yeah.
I may conceivably be part of the problem as well, because when more than one mic is on, I'll just make sure that I always switch my mic off when I'm not speaking so that we don't get feedback.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chaskalsin. Let's try you slowing down perhaps for now. Maybe the question of reverberation can be attended to during the tea break if it persists when everybody else switches off their microphones.
Okay.
There's another technical issue that was raised. That too will be attended to during the tea break.
Mr. Mnisi, the next question is at the foot of page 5 of the supplementary bundle. It was 2.7. What was the purpose of your requesting a supplier or service provider's vendor number from Sergeant Nkosi on or about 25 November 2025, as evidenced in your WhatsApp communication of that date? And your answer to that question is it starts at page 6, paragraph 26. If you can read that answer again, amplify what you want to amplify.
Thank you, SC. Chairperson, my recollection is that Sergeant Nkosi informed me at some stage, whilst we were socializing, that his brother's company was finding it difficult to navigate within the City of Tshwane's procurement environment. He indicated to me that despite his brother's company being registered as a vendor within the city's supplier database system and being allocated a vendor number, for some reason he seldom received communication from a procurement nature, bulletins, requests for quotations from the city as he did in the past. Chairperson, I must also confirm that at this time, the city was in the process of digitizing its supply chain management function through the implementation of SAP Ariba, which caused a lot of issues all around and was subject to many complaints at the time. My request was purely to ascertain whether his brother's vendor number had been correctly migrated and captured accordingly on the city's new SAP Ariba business network. At the time, Chair, there were numerous complaints received and raised by many suppliers who were having difficulty in engaging with the city's procurement process as a result of the change in or the implementation of new internal controls. These concerns were regularly brought to the attention of the relevant officials and myself, particularly during the transition of new SAP Ariba business network, with suppliers reporting challenges relating to vendor registration. I had no issue to assist, Chair, as I had assisted several other suppliers on previous occasions regarding the matter of this nature. I further, for the benefit of the Commission, need to briefly explain what SAP Ariba is and what benefit it brings to the city. SAP Ariba is a procurement platform which assists organizations in managing, sourcing, purchasing, suppliers, contracts, invoicing, payments in a one connected system. It links buyers and suppliers to SAP Business Network. As evidenced from what I state below, Chair, we all had to assist in the migration of these issues, as the benefits to the city were enormous. Put in simple terms, we rolled up our sleeves and we assisted in whichever way we could as a pure mechanism of ensuring that we digitize the supply chain management system. The main benefits of SAP Ariba for the city were the following: better control over company spending, improved procurement compliance and improved workflows, stronger supplier management and risk visibility, faster, more automated source-to-pay processes, improved invoice accuracy and fewer manual errors. Lastly, better spend insights for decision-making and savings opportunities, just to name a few. Chairperson, I attach here to GM2 copies of the supply chain management training for SMME report, as well as Annex to GM3, the minutes of the service delivery war room. I specifically referred to the Commission to paragraph 5 of the minutes wherein the issue of SMM3 and SMME training is recorded. Chair, with your permission, I would like to briefly go through GM2 and GM3.
Certainly, well, the Commission, you're absolutely entitled to do that. But can I just give references, because GM2 is filed, it starts at file 2, page 12.
Yes, confirmed.
And please proceed, and then when we get to well, I suppose it will be sequential, so we'll get the reference just by following on GM3.
All right, thanks, Essie. So GM2, Chair, as you can see, it's me getting feedback from the Director responsible for performance management with his supply chain management. This was a new position that was created as part and parcel of institutional arrangements in ensuring that the city supply chain management function is able to deliver in line with the mandate. Attached here in Chair's feedback I'm receiving on training that has taken place in November 2025 as part of rolling up supplier development. It's also essential to take note that this took place on the 11th of December 2025, and we're arranging additional other information sharing sessions across all 7 regions of the city. The particular example I'm bringing on board is training that took place in Atteridgeville for SMMEs. We also concluded that we would put systems in place to ensure that these trainings are advertised and that they would occur on a regular basis. On page number 13, up until page number 21, these are all the attendance registers of all the individuals who attended this SMME training. On the next page on 22, it's an update on the program of the day and the program that was designed in terms of capacitating SMMEs within the city. Amongst this, what's key, Chair, is that the city was experiencing supply chain management issues, which was a well-known issue. The city had found itself incurring issues of irregular expenditure of the past, and we had to curb these issues. In terms of us curbing these matters, we had to come up with a system where we implement Ariba. If you look at paragraph 3 of page 22, the training program would commence from 2026 to incorporate SAP Ariba training to empower SMMEs as they would seamlessly take part in the automated procurement system that the city was implementing. Chairperson, the Ariba implementation was still persisting. The reason I'm bringing this on board is that this is an issue that's still persisting, and the change management process was a difficult one to manage and for suppliers to understand. Inclusive within this training program, Chair, was to ensure that the procurement training fundamentals and SMMEs were capacitated. We needed to ensure that SMMEs knew how to complete administrative compliance requirements. We needed to ensure that SMMEs were prepared and were able to prepare competitive bidding processes with effective pricing, contracting as well, online automated bidding, including on how to successfully upload bids. This is part and parcel of the city's goals to completely move to a digital platform from a supply chain management perspective, moving away from physical tender documents and papers which could be easily manipulated. Of course, within this training, Chair, we included matters of increasing competitiveness, enhancing efficiency, reducing barriers to entry. We took note that over a period of time, there were many barriers to entry that many service providers were experiencing, which made it difficult for the city to award based on a competitive pricing. Administrative glitches of a person not ticking a box results in disqualification. These were findings that were raised by the AG, and this is part and parcel of the processes that you had to put on board to deal with barriers to entry and to ensure that we appoint the cheapest and the most, competitive pricing. We found ourselves in instances where we couldn't do that as a result of all these barriers to entry that the city was experiencing. Of course, Chairperson, this is, of course, is an example of outreachville training that took place in Region 3. On page 23, Chair, why I'm bringing this on board, this was a partnership that Supply Chain Management, the Group Financial Services, was managing in conjunction with Group Economic Development. You can see, Chair, that it was not only a city function. We had representatives from SARS, we had representatives from provincial department, we had representatives from NYDA. It was a provincial issue-wide matter that we were trying to resolve. We invited all these colleagues on board to ensure that our SMMEs are trained correctly and know how to deal with tax matters and know how to deal with matters that previously found themselves being barriers for suppliers. GM3, Chair, now refers to page 24. And the reason this is essentially pertinent for me to bring to the